This is CityCast Twin Cities. I'm Sean McPherson, and here's what the cities are talking about.
PaviElle, when they make a movie of your life, and they will, who will portray you?
Aunjanue Ellis Taylor.
I have no idea who Aunjanue Ellis Taylor is.
Oh man, she was in the Clark Sisters movie. She played the mom. And she was really dope. She was in Ray. She was the first singer that Ray hired. It brings a tear. That one.
She has the pipes to be PaviElle. She can do it.
She can do it, but also just her fierceness. I want her to play me. I would ask Queen Latifah, but she's 10 years older than me. It wouldn't work.
Well, I think that they will secure some fantastic talent when they make the movie of your life. Happy New Year to everybody in listening range. That is contributor, local performer, and the Queen of Rondo, PaviElle French. Today, we're going to help you make the most of January with some recommended events and activities. We're also going to revisit a truly golden age in Twin Cities arts and culture, and we're going to chat with a Minnesota and Antarctica. Before we do all that, I got a big shout out to our newest neighbor, Brant M. Thank you, Brant. Just by seeing your first name and your initial, I can tell that you would rush to the scene of a highway accident to assess the safety of everyone involved. Actually, we only know that because we personally know Brant, and he actually did that. So, Brant, thank you for not only being a great person, but also for being a member with CityCast. To learn more about the benefits of becoming a neighbor of CityCast, head to twincities.citycast.fm and click on membership. If you think January is going to suck, it is going to suck. It is just one of those months where if you don't bring the right attitude to this month, you're going to have a bad time. But if you bring the right attitude, you can really make the most out of it. And PaviElle has pulled out a great couple of recommendations for the month, and I have a couple too. PaviElle, the first one you're highlighting has us outdoors in January. What's going on?
Yes. So I found out that Theo Worth Park offers cross-country skiing, sledding, snowboarding, snowshoeing, and the funnest of all, snow tubing. Because I'm trying to get there to do some snow tubing. I haven't done that since I was a kid. So y'all got to check it out while you're on winter break. It's a great place to be. I love Theo Worth, and it's just so beautiful. Just go check it out.
And if you're looking for some more outdoor events, I got to recommend ice skating, particularly the one that is available in Edina in Centennial Lakes Park. And this is not just a little pond. We're talking about 10 acres of groomed ice across 3 different ponds. But the coolest part is these meandering canals. And if you bring your own skates, it doesn't cost any money at all. But of course, if you don't have skates, it's a $10 flat fee to rent skates. And you can also, for $10 per hour, get a push sled if you need a little extra assistance. I do need a little extra assistance. And the hours are lasting pretty long in January, noon to 9:30 on weekdays and 10 a.m. to 9:30 on weekends. Also, if you ever wonder, where are all the weirdos in winter? They're at the Art Shanty Project, which is on Baday Uman, also known as Lake Harriet. And this runs weekends, January 17th to February 8th. But when I say weirdos, I'm talking about artists doing puppetry, artists doing fantastic musical performances. A lot of sort of the May Day Parade vibe can be found on Lake Harriet or Baday Uman in the middle of January. That runs on weekends from the 17th to February 8th. Now, PaviElle, you also got your eyes on some indoor activities. Tell me about Norway House and their gingerbread wonderland.
I thought this was like whimsical. So there's this place called Norway House, and they do a gingerbread wonderland, and they show what they call a delightful exhibit showcasing intricate gingerbread creations. So they're having their last 3 days, January 6th, 7th, and 8th, and the times vary, but they do have morning times and afternoon times I saw.
I want to give a shout out to everybody who is doing Dry January. And for those of you who aren't familiar, a lot of folks who have drinking as a part of their life in the other 11 months of the year decide to go alcohol free in January. And, you know, you come up to like January 6th and you meet a lot of folks who are like, I gave that up. That didn't work out for me. If you are trying to do Dry January, the best thing to do is to get spectacular things to drink that aren't alcoholic. And I strongly recommend checking out Marigold. They got spots in St. Paul and in South Minneapolis. It's a liquor store with no liquor. They have a bunch of NA beverages, a truly good list of NA wines, and also a big selection of THC edibles and things like that. A lot of folks decide to stop drinking and might decide to start having some more marijuana. And if you are trying to figure out how to navigate marijuana, don't just go buy whatever you think you can. Like, you can buy some stuff at the gas station that'll ruin your life. I just want to be perfectly honest about that. Right? I mean, this is something where you need a professional, and I want to give a shout out to Jessica Armbruster at Racket, who does weed reviews, and weed reviews are a spectacular way to find out what's going on in the world of THC beverages and edibles. So don't go into the world of weed alone. Find out like what you are snacking on before you have a terrible weekend. Also, I got to give a shout out to some music. There is not a lot of bands coming through the Twin Cities in January because it's cold as hell. But here's the thing. Local bands step up and put on great shows. First Avenue is hosting Best New Bands Night on January 17th. This is an annual tradition for years and years. First place I ever saw Maria Issa, first place I saw a lot of great acts, was on that stage for this event. And this year, Choots, GR3G, LaSalle, Megan and the Birdwatcher, and more are doing the musical thing. I'm excited to be one of the hosts for the event. But yeah, if you were looking to catch some music, you'd be really well served to check out Best New Band Night on January 17th at First Avenue. One of the great films of last year is getting some rotations at the Capri this month. So can you tell me about Sinners coming to the Capri?
Oh, yeah. You know, Sinners is the bomb. I own that movie. It's my favorite. They're going to present it at the Capri on Thursday, January 8th for the First Thursday Films. It's going to be really dope. Y'all should come and be a part of it. Of course, Sinners is from Ryan Coogler, the director of Black Panther and Creed, and it's starring Michael B. Jordan. And it's just a great vampire film that has so many other meanings and just so much culture and beauty. So come check that out for sure. And then there's going to be a panel discussion with conversation leader, filmmaker D.A. Bullock. So it's going to be great.
When they make a movie in my life, Michael B. Jordan will play Sean McPherson, and I think he'll do a spectacular job. Let's go over to St. Paul for museum nights at the Science Museum. Something for the adults at the Science Museum, PaviElle.
Yes. So you should check out the Science Museum nights at the Omni Theater, and they have live science shows and adults only trivia. They also have discounts for students, so y'all should check that out. All you have to do is bring your student ID and you'll get a $10 discount on tickets. It's a nice little thing to do as an adult in a very kiddie space that you can be full of wonder.
I go to the Science Museum, but my youngest just stops at the hydraulic thing at the beginning. We've literally never even had to pay. You just go stand there and do it. Let's stay in St. Paul for a minute. The St. Paul Farmers Market, just a reminder that farmers markets are not just for the warm months.
No, they have an indoor and outdoor farmers market. And on Saturday, January 10th, the indoor farmers market will be open from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the 308 Prince Street location. And then the outdoor farmers market will be at the Lower Town Farmers Market from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
And for those of you who don't know exactly where 308 Prince Street is, that new indoor one is where Black Dog used to be, right in Lower Town. PaviElle, many a January comes where on January 16th or so, I go, oh my God, it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I have no idea what to do. What am I going to do with my kids? What am I going to do with myself? And I think Martin Luther King Jr., one of the great Americans, one of the great human beings to ever walk this earth, and to just let that day go by without doing anything is really a mistake, especially when there's a lot of awesome things to do in the Twin Cities. It's the 36th annual MLK Jr. Day holiday breakfast, which brings a lot of great speakers and a lot of great gravitas to downtown Minneapolis to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. This year, one of the key speakers is Soledad O'Brien. Billy Steele's also going to be on hand for the event. But I also want to give a plug to something happening right at the Capri, where PaviElle works. And you have this organization, the Capri, this theater, has not always done things for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. But this year, it's the 6th annual Martin Luther King Jr. Talent Showcase. What an amazing way to celebrate Black youth who are bringing amazing skills and amazing talents to our community. And that's going from 3 to 7 p.m. PaviElle, I'm so glad the Capri is doing something for Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Yeah, me too. And shout out to Namir Fierce doing the Black, Bold, and Brilliant series. So this is going to be really awesome, and we're excited. So yeah, the Capri is also presenting this, and so it's a partnership, and it's good. It's good. I'm excited for the future.
Well, the future is going to be even more wonderful if you take care of yourself. And so I want to give a couple shout outs to ways to handle wellness this January. And one that I love doing is getting a straight razor shave, which not only involves getting your face looking absolutely beautiful, but it's about a 50-minute experience. And they cover you twice in hot towels where your entire face is covered and only your nose is sticking out. And for a moment, it's not January. For a moment, it is just this absolutely overwhelming warmth, moisture, your pores feel great. It's spectacular. I get mine at a spot called Good Neighbor Barbershop, right down at like Randolph and Davern. But any place you can find a straight razor shave, it's usually about $50, and it's money well spent. But that's about not moving your body. That's about letting somebody else take care of your body. PaviElle, you've been an enthusiast for some dance programming. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So I want to give a big shout out to Xenon Dance School on Hennepin, downtown Minneapolis. I've been dancing at Xenon School for a year now since I got back from my retreat with the McDowell. It's the best investment for my life, and I'm gracefully, stepping into a new cycle of life as I age. So it's beautiful. I take Afro Modern with Roxanne Wallace Patterson, and her classes keep me sharp, playful, fun, vibrant, and most importantly, in my body, which is everything. So I highly recommend that y'all check Xenon out. They offer jazz dance, improv, floor work, contemporary, modern, Afro-modern, ballet, and so much more. So support our great dance community and that space. Xenon is a part of what the Sage Coles Center also is a part of. So just, let's love up on that space and support our dance community.
For more recommendations, you can check out our list, our January guide, over at twincities.citycast.fm. But we certainly missed a lot of events and opportunities to enjoy this January. So send us a text or leave us a voicemail on the CityCast Twin Cities hotline, 612-217-0637. We love hearing from you, and we'd love to include those suggestions in an upcoming mailbag segment. We have more news to discuss, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. PaviElle, before I knew you as a truly breathtaking vocalist and as a truly breathtaking broadcaster, I knew you as one of the sharpest spears out of this amazing scene that I was tangentially connected to. And I'm talking about the Twin Cities spoken word scene of the late 1990s and the early 2000s. Now, 20 years later, you are a known quantity in the Twin Cities and beyond. But when we were just getting started together at Jazz 88, we were driving around town, and you said that you wished there was a documentary about that era that you came out of, 1990s, early 2000s, open mics, slams, spoken word. Documentary? Pshaw. We need a full theatrical production. So can we scrap the documentary, and can you get your Ryan Coogler on and describe a movie about the Twin Cities spoken word scene?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. She's ready. Yeah. What is the title of this movie, PaviElle?
Right Away, like WRITE, away, exclamation mark.
This elevator pitch is already going well. I'm pulling out my checkbook. What's the central conflict in Right Away?
The conflict is a bunch of people coming together, converging, trying to build something with very minimal resources. and competitiveness, because we are also all artists. That's conflict. If you've ever been around a bunch of artists.
And when you talk about resources from on high, nobody said, "Oh, we think we should have a thriving, largely black poetry scene in the Twin Cities." This was something that was made at the grassroots level and was amazing to view. Yep. One of the things about it not sort of coming from on high and being decided, this wasn't always happening on Friday and Saturday nights at nightclubs. It was happening at different kind of spots all around the cities at different times of the week. For, Right Away, what are the main hangouts?
Oh, gosh. I think Sunday and Monday was Kitty Cat Club, Loring Pasta Bar. Mm-hmm. You could get on the mic there. Tuesday was Blue Nile. I want to say Wednesdays was Cultural Center, Lake and Lindale. I used to work the door there. That's how I started with Edupoetic Entertainment. That's
like the hand percussion-oriented place?
Mm-hmm. That was down the block from La Bodega, which was one of the other hangouts. Red Sea.
Okay, pretend I'm a director who doesn't know this era well. Somebody's walking into this type of place. What's happening on the microphones? What are people wearing? What's the vibe? What's the age group?
Oh, this is like totally Soulquarian times. this year, we were talking 97 through, 2005, folks got natural hair, we're wrapped up, or, we have linens. It's a lot of Nag Champa. It's a lot of herbs in the air.
It smells like a record store everywhere.
Everywhere. And black love incense or strawberry. Yeah, it's the vibe. It's the vibe. And also we had a lot of hip hop too. So there was spoken word and poets and like straight up storytellers, straight up like writers that would just, do their thing. But then we also had hip hop heads. We had rappers. We had ciphers. There was all these different things. So it was like many cultures, converging.
And we'd all wait in line at the Dinky Towner together.
Oh, Lord. I'm trying to get down them little ass stairs and not die. Oh, my God.
Now, PaviElle, a lot of the folks who came out of that scene are still well known to us today. You included. I think about Desdemona. I think about Tish Jones. When you think about the movie, you can't have like 7 main characters. When you think about the central players and Right Away, who are you thinking about?
Oh, and Tayo Siolo. All my people, Hanti, Black Power, Hanti Young, like Sirius B. Like
I don't remember Sirius B. Oh, is this a group?
So Sirius B was a really cool like mentorship writers group, creative group, actors group that J. Otis Powell, I believe, was at the helm of, and he was mentoring several young men, Hanti Young, Jeff Bailey, Kevin Washington, Bro Son, you know what I'm saying? Like all those people, Bird Wilkins, they were all a part of this thing and became wonderful writers and actors and musicians because Jeff Bailey's a bass player. Everybody know him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like these were young men that were being mentored and doing like I went to go see him at 8-9 years old, at Intermediate Arts. That was the first time I went ever, and it was like 8 years old, welcoming, like, this is the world. So, yeah, definitely Sirius B and groups, some of the folks from, the Blue Nile and stuff like that. Like, there's so many people I can't mention. I mean, there's just too many.
It was a thriving scene, and the thing that made it so special was that there was so many young people out there honing their craft, yet also being supported by an artist like J. Otis Powell, may he rest in peace, a poet who's probably, 20, 30 years our senior, 20 years our senior, maybe?
Definitely. 30, because he was like my mama in them's age. Lori Carlos, another one, a non-English speaking, spoken here. I gotta say it, because she did that. That was late night poetry before E.G. and Shay had it. Like, I think Lori was the first doing that stuff where it was like midnight, and they would cook food, and we go through poetry. Yeah.
Let me back up. This is an amazing scene. So many people thrived coming out of this scene. We still benefit from this scene, but it's not at the same level as it was then as far as like presence on stages. There's still a lot of great poets working. Like, what is this movie ending? Like the resources, is that the conflict? You run out of resources? Why is the scene thriving differently now?
I would just have it end on a high note, where it was like, it culminated at a big show like Singers of Daybreak. Like there was a big conference like that back in the day, y'all. They was called Singers of Daybreak. It was a big poetry conference. And like they had Ursula Rucker and Saul Williams and Carl Hancock Rux and all those folks were there, that kind of thing. Edupo played it, but I was too young. But like, it would have to end that way because I would want it to represent what it was, and really give everybody that feeling. Because we had our own Soulquarian movement here. You know what I mean? We had our own movement because it's not only just the poets and the rappers and the breakers and, the dancers and all the people, but it's also the musicians because these were some of the top musicians that are playing right now, very young, also honing their craft at the same time, holding it down for us that kept getting on the mic. But yeah, like I wanted to be able to show all the different constellations that this scene had created basically out of the work that the boomers had did seriously in the theater scene, being at Penumbra and Mixed Blood and all those things. Like all that stuff preceded our movement with the Xers and the elder millennials.
This is memory lane for you and I, but I think it's also ripe to think about nowadays because you can have a thriving art scene here. You can have a thriving Black art scene here. In fact, we do today as well, and that is still thriving. But it's one of those things where it doesn't get documented, remembered, pulled out and brushed off and talked about on a podcast in 2025, the way a lot of great moments in more white-centric art happens in this town.
Yeah.
And that's a tragedy because it deserves to be celebrated, but it also deserves to be kind of like updated and made flashy and Hollywooded up a little bit. And you're doing incredible work.
And preserved by the people that did it. Because that's important. That's important. That it's preserved by us. Like, I know Stage One and folks are doing stuff also, with Minnesota History Center. I mean, like, we're all like doing things. It's very important that we preserve our lineage and our art and the things that we did, our movements, that's Sorry, I just had to get that in there.
No, I'm sorry. We're going to cut that. I think it's important for me to preserve it all. So I'll just be handling this.
You better not, Sean. I'll be on your heels, man. I know where you live.
PaviElle, I am so thankful not only for your participation in this scene, but also for the fact that you, alongside Stage One and so many other people, are making sure that not only is it remembered, but as you mentioned, it is remembered and told by the people who were there and who were involved. And yeah, jokes aside, that is of paramount importance, and I sincerely appreciate you bringing that to CityCast Twin Cities. And I'd like to invest in your movie. I would like to see this movie. And Right Away is a great title. I didn't know what you were going to bring, but I don't know how long that one took, but that was a good one.
Immediately. When I read the question, I was like, yeah, right away. Yep.
PaviElle, it has been such a joy to be hanging with you. Happy New Year to you. It is 2026. We're going to have a lot of fun on CityCast this year. I can't wait to see what else you are up to at the Capri and elsewhere. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and making these recommendations for January and giving us a great movie idea.
Of course. Copyright it for me.
We want to hear from you. What great moment from Twin Cities history should be turned into a film? Let us know by texting or leaving us a voicemail on the CityCast Twin Cities hotline, 612-217-0637. You might hear those comments in one of our upcoming mailbag segments. We got more news to discuss, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. Martin, what is the worst thing that you've ever forgotten on a trip?
I think maybe the worst thing I've ever forgotten on a trip was deodorant. Yeah, that's maybe the worst for me and for those around me. I was working at the place called the National Ice Core Facility, where we store all our ice cores in Colorado, and we were working long days in a negative 30 Celsius freezer, and I forgot deodorant, and I thought, oh, it'll be fine. I'll be fine. It's going to be cold. Like, we're not going to smell anything. And three days in, I was like, I need deodorant. So I had to run to the store and get deodorant. And the trip was a lot better after that. Yeah.
Okay, Martin Froger Silva, I think you definitely can't run to the store for the trip you're on currently because you are in Antarctica as a digital content coordinator with the University of Minnesota Climate Adaptation Partnership, and you're embedded with an ice core drilling team. And deodorant or no deodorant, you are a man who brought something to Whey Coffee and a variety of coffee beans on this trip. So clearly you're making Antarctica a bit of a home for yourself, including I saw some dogwood coffee in one of your videos. What are you sipping on right now, coffee-wise?
I am sipping on dogwood. It's instant dogwood, but it's the dogwood nonetheless, so a little taste of home. Yeah.
Okay, and I think you're in a remote Antarctic camp. Are there non-remote Antarctic camps? Like, is there some spot that's just bustling with a nightlife and folks are at the internet cafe? Or is everything on this seventh continent remote?
Well, we are in Antarctica, so everything is remote. Remote from everywhere. But there are established field stations with, 1,000 people. Like McMurdo Station is the biggest U.S. station on the continent. And it's a full station. They have water treatment facility, a galley, which is a mess hall, a food hall. 1,000 people on average live there during the summer, we're in summer right now down here. And so that when we think about like remote versus, the state, quote unquote, station. McMurdo is the station, and then all the field camps are remote sites. So we differentiate between those stations and then the remote field camps, like the one I'm in at the Allen Hills, which is, hundreds of miles in any direction in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
What are you doing hundreds of miles in any direction in the middle of nowhere? What are y'all working on exactly?
Right. So I'm here with a team called the National Science Foundation Center for Oldest Ice Exploration. So NSF Coldex for short. And we are a science and technology center focused on exploring Antarctica and looking for and collecting the world's oldest ice samples to get a better understanding of Earth's rich history, understand how Earth's atmosphere has changed over time, and spend a couple weeks in Antarctica every year trying to collect this old ice. Right now, our campsite is on top of a glacier that's been here for a very long time, millions of years. And we know this because we found ice that is millions of years old while drilling in this area.
You found ice that's 6 million years old. You found some of the oldest ice that's ever been found by anyone. And you're not just there like pulling out the ice, you're also documenting it. And I was curious about, what's important about actually communicating the science that you're doing and having somebody working as a digital content coordinator? Because I think even at some businesses, that's a bit of an afterthought. It's expensive to have somebody in Antarctica, but it's worth it for this organization to have you there. What's your particular role as documenting these scientific discoveries?
I think first I'll say that I'm here to help and to collect ice cores. Like my main role while in the field is actually an ice core handler. So I'm supporting the science that's being done. I am in the drill tents handling ice cores, touching 5 million year old ice, which is kind of a crazy thing to think about. And I'm really here to support the work that all the scientists and the professional ice core drillers around me are doing. And on top of that, I am documenting. A big part of NSF Coldex's mission is to educate and to do science communication on the work that we do. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to show the behind the scenes of what doing the science looks like. I'm here to break things down into more maybe accessible terms. A lot of the science that we do is complex and complicated, and honestly, sometimes I don't understand it. But it's my job to understand it and to then be able to relay it to a wider audience. And that's why I'm here with the team. On your previous point, we found some of the oldest ice. We have found the oldest ice. We have found the oldest ice in the world, 6 million years old.
Martin Froger Silva, you got to convince me that you know the age of any of this ice. I just want to be clear. I know that you aren't you are supporting these scientists, but you are sleeping next, presumably, to people who they can look at one ice cube and another ice cube and go, oh, this one is only about 200,000 years old, and this one is, 1.5 million years old. Are you kidding? I've seen a lot of ice in my life, not as much as you have in the past couple months, but can you please just convince me that the people next to you actually know what the heck they're talking about?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, okay, I'll say it's not that simple. We don't look at the ice and go, oh, this is 200,000, or this is a 200,000 vintage of ice, and this is a 5 million vintage of ice. Yes. No, the way it's dated, and this is the interesting science part, is that really what we're interested in is the air bubbles trapped in the ice, because these air bubbles are essentially a trapped record of what the atmosphere was like, let's say 5 million years ago. So snowflakes fall at the surface of a glacier, and then between each snowflake are little pockets of air. And those pockets of air holds, gases like oxygen and nitrogen. Fast forward a couple 100,000 years, and those bubbles end up trapped deep within the ice. And so when we're drilling for these ice cores, the main thing is we test for the gases in those air bubbles, and we can measure the age of the gases trapped in the air bubbles in the ice, and that tells us how old the surrounding ice is based on the age of those gases.
You did a successful job convincing me and explaining to me how they figure out the age. So job well done in that regard. Let's also talk about your job location. You've survived some Minnesota winters. You're now in an Antarctic summer and presumably spent time in trying environments. Is Antarctica the most difficult environment you've lived in? Do you have any advice for folks who are struggling in Minnesota that might benefit from some of your Antarctic knowledge?
This is definitely the harshest place I've been to and have lived in. It is summer, but today it's, I think, negative like 30 Fahrenheit or something. And windy. We've got like 25 knot winds right now, which basically makes the wind chill like negative 35 or negative 40. So it's cold. I looked this up yesterday. At these wind speeds and temperature, like exposed skin will frostbite in less than 30 minutes. In thinking of advice for people in Minnesota, like I was thinking about this because it's hard because Minnesota's no winter. And I have colleagues from Oregon or from California who haven't really experienced winter like we have. And they were like, oh, what's going on here? But I was like, I'm from Minnesota. I got this. But I think like I've definitely learned to appreciate toe warmers. I never wore toe warmers, and now I can't go a day without wearing them because they're so nice. And base layers. You know, I know the base layers are a thing, but I've a colleague and I were talking about these yesterday, and we were like, wow, the base layer, that's the secret. For Minnesotans, like base layers, hot drinks, you know, these are the things that are part of the culture, you know, too, of Minnesota, right? Like just the like winter. It's summer here. I keep thinking of that, but yeah, the winter vibes.
Listen, it's 30
like
below. It's winter. I don't care what Mother Nature says. I gotta ask Martin, like when you're back in Minnesota, what are the first 5 things you're gonna do? You land. Where are you eating? What are you doing? Like, what are those things when you get to Minnesota you're looking forward to?
Well, I really miss my wife and my cats. So the first thing I'm gonna do is give a big hug to my wife. And give really big hugs to my cats and give them little pets and tell them how good they've been. I mean, I miss all of them. I really miss my cats. I miss my wife, but she understands rationally what's going on. My cats have no idea. As far as they know, I died, you know, like I've been gone for weeks. What happened to Daddy? So, and then hang out with my friends, swing by Dogwood, get some coffee, see my people there. I live in St. Paul, Marion Park, and one of my favorite things to do in the winter is walk around, you know, enjoy the snow, walk down to Rose Street Patisserie and get a croissant and a baguette and walk home. St. Paul Meat Shop is like a 15-minute walk from home for me. So walk down to St. Paul Meat Shop, have a burrito. I mean, those are the things that I'm like really missing right now, is those little, you know, pleasures of life. Gus Gus is like one of my wife and I's favorite restaurants, and we live really close to it. So probably like a nice dinner at Gus Gus will be a real treat. And then I think like, honestly, I know I'm here and it's like negative 30, but I kind of do miss winter, like Minnesota winter culture, you know, just like walking on the frozen lakes and going ice dipping and like, you know, polar plunging and then like jumping into a sauna. Like I would do anything for a sauna right now. It sounds so nice, and there's no saunas out here where I am. So yeah, I think like I'll definitely be hitting the sauna scene when I go home, because that's like a really nice part of winter in Minnesota that I kind of miss right now. Yeah.
Well, it'll all be waiting for you, Martin Froger Silva. We appreciate you taking time at 6:25 in the morning in the most remote spot in our planet to chat with CityCast Twin Cities. We can't wait for you to come back to the Twin Cities. And thank you for the work you're doing, because I know it'll really pay dividends for us learning about how we're going to survive our climate nowadays. So thank you for the hard research you're doing and for taking time from that to chat with us.
Thanks for having me.
Now I'm joined by CityCast producer Adam Sage to have a chat about one of our sponsors. How you doing, Adam?
Hey, Sean, I'm doing good. As we kick off the new year here, Xcel Energy is bringing you new ways to get involved with your community while looking back at the impact they made in 2025.
And boy, what an impact. $14 million to support charitable organizations and causes. That's all through Xcel's foundation, which involves employees, contractors, and retirees.
Yep, throughout the year, they embraced opportunities to donate their time by volunteering nearly 60,000 hours of volunteer time.
And Adam's right, it is really throughout the year, but the biggest volunteer campaign on Xcel Energy's calendar is their annual Day of Service, which happens each September.
Yep, the company's 2025 Day of Service engaged 2,900 volunteers who committed nearly 8,900 hours to support about 100 different nonprofit projects.
And these projects run the gamut. You got projects packing meals. You got folks who are building homes for families in need. You also are cleaning up nature trails, planting trees. Folks from this foundation are doing volunteer services in all different parts of our world.
And Xcel Energy opens many of its volunteer opportunities to the public, including the annual Day of Service in September.
It's a new year. It is the perfect time to get involved with some new community engagement. And you can join Xcel by searching Xcel Energy Community Engagement today. That's all for today here on CityCast Twin Cities. I'm your host, Sean McPherson, PaviElle French, Martin Froger Silva, Adam Sage. Thanks for being here today. Our executive producer is Anna Wagle. Our creative producers are Adam Sage and Tiffany Bowie. Our audience engagement manager is James Napoli. Our senior account executive is Heather Hull. Post-production this week was done by PJ Shahamat, and our host is me, Sean McPherson. Our theme music is by Carl Christensen. Our mailbag music is by our own Adam Sage. Our ad music is by Sven Lindvall and Sarah, the instrumentalist from Epidemic Sounds via Getty Images. You can get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to the CityCast Twin Cities newsletter. If you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with someone who lives on an uninhabitable glacier? We'll see you back here on Monday for more news from around the city.